Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Main Character Podcast. I feel like I'm always finding new positions, something that would just make me feel very comfortable and free enough to have these monologues with you. Today, I'm talking about how I've been living with imposter syndrome and all these years of being creative and doing all of these things have not changed anything. And I'm talking about this because I feel like some of you might relate to this as well. Not even trying to take it as maybe like an illness or something, but I mean, along the line of this conversation slash monologue, I think we'll probably get to figure something out. It has been a struggle trying to do all of these things I've been doing, trying to make videos and still feeling like, yeah, I'm really doing great. It's not even feeling like that because there are days that I do create content and I'm like, I don't even understand what's this like. I don't even understand what I'm doing, and it doesn't feel great when you think that you don't know what you're doing, especially when you've been doing the same thing for like a while. And to be honest, it's been quite a minute. So the last video I made, I had shot it like some weeks back, but I hadn't edited. So this has been a while that I even took the camera to film, and it feels good talking to the camera again. So, in layman terms, imposter syndrome can be said to be, you know what? Let's just Google it because I know how imposter syndrome can be, or like how it makes you feel. So, reading directly from Google search, imposter syndrome is a behavioral health phenomenon described as self doubt of intellect, skills, or accomplishments among high achieving individuals. So I guess imposter syndrome is basically self doubt and comparing yourself. Yes. I didn't even know there were different types of imposter syndrome, but that's by the way. But like from what I'm seeing, there's the perfectionist. Okay, so let me go over it again. So there are actually different types of imposter syndrome from what I'm reading here. So for the perfectionist, you set extremely high standards for yourself and beat yourself up when you don't reach them. You're Superman or Superwoman. You feel you should be able to excel at every role you take on in your life. The expert, you expect to know everything and feel ashamed when you don't. That one is definitely not me. Like, are people like that? Who knows everything? The soloist, you believe work must be accomplished alone and refuse to take credit if you receive any kind of assistance. I don't even know. The natural genius, you tell yourself that everything must be handled with ease, otherwise, it's not natural talent. Okay, so these are just basically like definitions that are found online, but this is not entirely what I want to talk about because I mean, a lot of times you see these definitions and they start to define something else that is not even like what you're feeling. For me, my imposter syndrome is basically self doubt, comparing yourself to people or to other people that you expected to be like already. And a lot of times they tell you or people tell you to not compare yourself, but it's not as easy as it sounds. Like it's easier said than done. Like everything is easier said than done. Even like saying, oh, don't doubt yourself, believe in yourself, it's easier said than done. And for me, I know that I do have a lot of self doubts. And it just comes. It's not something that I voluntarily just want to have. It just happens. And a lot of times I have to start telling myself, like, guy, you make good videos, you make nice videos. So like why are you beating yourself up about it? So my imposter syndrome eventually led to my inconsistency. I used to post like consistently on Instagram. But like for a second I decided to stop because I started wondering like what exactly is my niche? Like, what exactly am I even doing? Like, I used to say I'm doing like self care stuff, but I started feeling like I wanted to do more. And that is somehow in line with saying, oh, imposter syndrome makes you feel like you're not doing enough and, you're probably not enough and all of that. But talking about these little things here and there is some sort of way of journaling for me because I sit and I talk and I like think about like I arrange these thoughts in my head and like I'm expressing it out. And even though yeah, you're probably watching this, but it's also what's like in my mind and like what's going through my head. My imposter syndrome leading to inconsistency is what I think it was. But the truth is it somehow just started from me having some level of creative block. Having a creative block simply means not having, ideas, basically not even knowing what to create about anymore. Or you have ideas and you're just not able to even put it together or fix it together, and it makes you like, well, for me, I'll speak for myself, it really does make me feel like I'm like confused. And I know for sure that feeling confused is not something that you want to be feeling, especially when you're in this creative space of doing like making videos. And it's a saturated space. The creative world is a saturated space because a lot of people are already doing whatever idea you're probably thinking about. And that's why no idea is entirely new. Everything is recycled, everything is repurposed into something that you stand for with your own level of originality and personality. And that's what makes your own original, because you have something, you put your own thing into it, but the ideas have already been existing. But I really thought that getting monetized was like going to be enough. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know if I was thinking that after getting monetized I'll now relax and just be making my videos, but it's not enough. Like, it's never enough. Nothing is ever enough. Like, you still want more, you crave more every single day. You crave more. And it's so funny getting to realize this on my own, that being monetized is not just the deal. I want more subscribers, I want more views, I want more spark in my creativity. I want to like feel like, yeah, you really know what you're doing. And honestly, I do feel like that sometimes, but other times I still feel like I don't. So, and I kind of believe that there is no cure to this imposter syndrome, because it's something that lingers on in your mind. Like, these are voices in your head which are entirely not even real or not even yours, that just appear from nowhere and just be like, oh my, I don't understand what you're doing. Which kind of video is this that you just did? Or like, what exactly are you even doing? And then you start to question yourself, and it just throws you off balance. I used to think that, okay, maybe someone could finally find some level of cure. Well, cure is such a huge word, but something that could help you like live with it. I don't think it's something anyone can have the cure for. The cure is in you. Like, literally, you're the one that's going to provide that cure for yourself, because imposter syndrome is literally like a mind infected thing. And I don't know why you feel like you are not doing enough or you're doing less. And that reason, I thought about it and I'm like, why do I feel like I'm doing less? Why do I feel like something is, I'm not living up to standard? What is that standard? Who put that standard there? I did. I put the standard there. And I feel like I'm not living up to this because I'm the one putting that crazy standard there. Like, who put it? Nobody. Why are you now comparing yourself? That's just it. That's just a self comparison. Like, I do that mindlessly. Like, I'm not even coming on here to make it seem like, oh, I know what I'm doing. And that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, main character podcast session or series. Basically, because I really like to talk. Like, I really like to say the things in my mind. And I don't entirely like to talk a lot, like, and then start babbling and going off point when I'm making vlogs, because I feel like vlogs are more activity driven. Yeah, podcasts I'm like more conversational, like, words and all of that, compared to vlogs. And I know I'll definitely always want to talk about stuff, because most of these things that you or other artists slash creators could also possibly relate to, which is not bad. Every 6 in 10 people, yeah, every 6 in 10 people are most likely having some level of imposter syndrome. Now, this is just a statistical guess. This data was not gotten from anywhere. I am just thinking. And I came up with this because I have had conversations with a lot of people, especially when it comes to things that we're doing. And we're doing it so well outwardly, but when you have deep and internal conversations with these people, you realize that they're also kind of like in a space where they don't know if what they're doing is like really great or like, it's good enough. And then you realize that I'm not the only one. Like, I'm really not the only one. But when you see these people outside doing their thing, it's almost like they're doing it with perfection. And you're like, wow, this person is doing it so great. And I think that's one thing I want to really reveal to you and to anybody watching this, is that a lot of people have internal battles that happen behind the scenes. You probably already know this, but most times when you see people do their thing so effortless, I think you forget about it. You forget that, man, maybe these people also did not believe in themselves before they eventually got to like give themselves some pep talk and came out to the open and did their thing. But digging deep, it's almost like an illness. Can you call this an illness now? I mean, they said it's a behavioral something something when we said it, when we read it in the beginning of this like visual podcast. I'll conclude that it's a reoccurring illness that artists or a lot of people get to have. You would keep doubting yourself sometimes that maybe your work is just not enough, or maybe you're not doing great, but you are. You actually are. And now I realize that I kind of brought myself together to live with it. And I can't entirely eradicate it. I don't think it's even possible, but you can always be able to adapt with it and realize that those voices in your head are just an illusion and they are not real. A lot of times you have to realize that you're really doing a lot better than where you were before, and like that's a huge difference. You're not accepting that, oh, you will forever have imposter syndrome, but you are accepting that these feelings are bound to happen again and again, and you are the only one that is going to shake it off. And if you don't shake it off, then it's going to decide that, I want to live with you for a while and I don't want to go. Accepting this, like what I just said, is one way. It's one way to live with it. It's one way to walk with imposter syndrome. You can walk with it, walk alongside it. Yeah, it makes you feel indifferent about yourself, but then again, it gives you a chance to want to prove to yourself that, yeah, you're really, really doing great. Another way that can make you feel better sometimes is taking breaks. I mean, it's okay to take breaks. A lot of times, you might just be burnt out, and burning out sometimes leads to having some level of creative block, and then you also start doubting yourself. So somehow they just come around in line, together at the same time, and you're like, mm, I don't know what's going on. It's okay to take breaks, but don't stay in there. Don't stay in there. Don't dwell in that space. I mean, if you really enjoy creating as an artist or like as a creator, I think it's something that you'd keep being drawn to, even though you feel like, yeah, you want to take a break, but it's something you keep being drawn to because you want to make more art and you want to create more memories and you want to put your things out there and you'd be excited to do so. And one great thing about taking breaks, when you eventually take the break, like coming back, you're going to be pumped, excited to want to head into it and do your thing. And I really like that. Another way to kind of adapt with this or work with imposter syndrome is basically having people that you can talk to. I have this person in my life, and Kim, who effortlessly listens to my rants. And it's crazy because somehow they just find the right things to say and they make you feel like, okay, yeah, yeah, I can actually do this. I can actually walk. I can do this. I can do this whole thing. I know that Nkem isn't really someone who maybe draft a video from beginning to the end and majority of most of the things I do. But he just helps me to think, and it's like, okay, you could probably do this, could probably do that. Or it's basically just listening and making you realize that these are just voices that are fake. So having people in your corner that you can rant to is more than important. I can't even stress that one out. And you should also be careful though, because there will be people that you complain to that are not inclined in these things or in your dreams, and then they try to like shake you off it and try to make you feel like you are wasting time. You're not wasting time. You are not wasting time because you're doing what you like, you're doing what you really love, and it's your passion. Yeah, you're getting money from your job or like maybe something else you're doing. But working towards making money from your passion is such a huge fight. And I don't think anybody can fight that fight alone, especially if it's like a slow journey for you, like it had been for me. Yeah. Another tip to I tend to live with this is reminding myself of the milestones I've achieved, reminding myself of how great I have been doing. But the growth I felt was slow, but growth is growth, and that's what I've realized in this past few times or past few days. Yeah, slow growth is annoying sometimes, but it's still growth. Another thing would be deciding to be real and getting rid of perfectionism. I mean, the list of imposter syndrome that we read, there was something called perfectionism there. And that's like one of the things that I think it's actually really true. I'm kind of relating to it now. Like I also related to one of them, which was the experts, I think. Setting some goals for yourself, like unrealistic goals. I mean, sometimes my goals and my dreams are unrealistic. The things I feel like I would achieve in a month might be unrealistic, but when I go back to review, I'm like, you didn't get it, but you came halfway, which is awesome. Imposter syndrome, yeah, definitely something that will probably keep happening or would keep coming around. They just hover around there, probably when you're doing great and then you hit one hurdle, it just comes up like, hey, it's been a minute. How are you? Just accept it and realize that, you know what, you're just stressing me. This is just a moment that is bound to happen, but you just have to like bring yourself back to do the main work. Do the main work, man. Your future you would be so happy. My future me will be excited that I didn't give up. And I think about it and I'm like, yeah, I have to continue. I can't stop. I can't give up. No, 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 no. Yeah, it excites me. So I think the whole tip is finding something that excites you. I want to keep doing it. I want to keep pushing. Nothing good ever comes easy. You already know that one. Like when you were in school and you passed and you graduated, you know what it took you to do that. How many years, you remember? Yeah. So I know for sure there are a lot of people out there that are still struggling and still trying to find their feet in this creative journey. And I feel you. And that's the essence of some of these videos because I know that you probably relate to it. So you shouldn't allow it to get to you too, and you should be proud of yourself. You're doing great. Yeah. So that's the end of today's monologue. That's the end of today's main character pod session. And I'll see you on Thursday in new videos coming up. Peace.